Hello, WorldCiv106. I'm hoping it's not too loud here. I'm here at this park, and all the kids got let out of school, and there was a lot of noise going on a little earlier. So we'll see if we've passed through that or not. We just covered Alexander the Great and Caesar, the Greco-Roman legacy, and many of you. It was so clear, and when I read your notes and some of your discussions, that you all understand and now see how significant of an impact that that the Greco-Roman world has left on the world, but especially for the Western world in many ways, in terms of vocabulary, the way we think about politics and all of our terms. And you were equally baffled by how the legacies of these very militaristic, power-thirsty, murderous, some say, men would take on such almost godlike reputations with the world. And it's just something interesting to always kind of think about, right? And so I just wanted to clarify a few things too as we go into this. So I talked about democracy coming with slavery, and I addressed this to some of you when I wrote, but I want to clarify. The Greeks, of course, did not invent slavery. Aristotle, he wrote his own kind of thoughts about it, which to me revealed he had a little bit of an ethical... He somehow realized that it was something that you needed to think about, but he ended up defending it. But the very fact that it became a subject matter for Aristotle, I think, was interesting. There must have been some sort of, I want to say guilty conscience on his part, or somebody having a discourse about, well, what do we make of this ethical situation of slavery? But democracy comes into the world through Greek concepts and politics. And it doesn't, it absorbs slavery into it, just like having a republic of the Roman Empire. And so that's the point I wanted to make. And why I'm trying to say that is that we're assuming in our modern political discourse that democracy means pure inclusion of the people, rule by the people. But it's really ruled by the citizens. And what you find historically is that how these societies, well, I guess the kids are coming still, so the noise may still be on, the distractions are here. You can't presume that when society says it's democratic, that it includes viewing everybody as equal. And that's the point I want to make. Think about, so the United States had slavery for a long time and wanted to be a democratic republic. The Confederacy made a constitution that reinforced slavery and simultaneously was espousing the ideas of a democratic republic. In the United States, we had segregation just around a decade before I was born, embedded into law in certain states with the democratic republic setup. Apartheid South Africa, same. In Israel, no non-Jew, even if they're a full citizen, can run for prime minister. You can be a part of politics. Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, just got in trouble for saying out loud. He said that Israel is not a country for its citizens, it's a country for Jews. And so Israel is defined as a Jewish state, and it's a democracy. But the political power lies for those within the state of Israel. You have to be Jewish to enjoy being fully absorbed into the state. Now in Lebanon, you have the problem, it's a democracy as well, but politicians have to represent their religious communities instead of everybody. So you can see where I'm getting at. These terms require us to study and see how the regime itself is looking at these definitions and what the facts on the ground are doing with them. And that's just something really important. I can't stress enough. So now we're moving along into Viking and pagan period and Christianity. I love this. I love this period. But this is also going to help you be aware of certain political trends that I'm going to show you that are happening as well. I happen to I love the topics of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Those are my specialties. And one of my next favorite things is Norse mythology and all of that. But I got to tell you, when I was really getting involved in studying Norse mythology not that long ago, this is new for me, and I have Swedish ancestry, a part of my, I just shorthand call myself a Germanic Celt. My last name is Scottish, my mom's last name is Swedish, I have a lot of German, blah, 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 I can go on and on. But I was dismayed and bummed to find out, as I was interested in all this Scandinavian history and lore, and got involved in like a lot of ways, that as I was looking on YouTube and researching all this, many white nationalists were embracing the Viking legacy and Germanic, Celtic, and even Slavic paganism as a way to assert a kind of hateful ideology. All these kids, how can you talk about hate when there's all these fun kids running around laughing and playing tag, huh? But that's kind of, these kids are a good example of kind of what I'm talking about, which is that we're learning that, as we saw this tragic event in New Zealand, that white nationalism is trying to make a case for an imagined idea about the legacy of the West and where the whites fit in. And they're embracing all these ideas that actually would claim that kids laughing like this and enjoying themselves, if they don't look like us, the dominant ethnic group, if they're not one of us, then they would shoot them. They would remove. It's terrible, right? Think about the implications of some of these ideas that are coming out. And this is very crucial to understand right now, because as I've been traveling the world, especially in Europe, this whole question, the ideas that got us into World War II, that many of us are so repulsed by now, are re-emerging. And you cannot look in a vacuum about what's happened in Christchurch, New Zealand, with the massacres there by the white nationalists. This is going to be something that we have to really keep an eye on, and you have to ask yourself a lot of, should I say, existential questions. Now, to move on from that, just to say quickly that in terms of the Christianity that we cover, I'm really excited about this section, because I teach a lot of things like I give you an idea of the formation of the Bible, for example, that you just won't get exposed to anywhere else, not likely, unless you go into seminary and you're going to pursue being a member of Christian clergy. So I'm excited to be able to provide you with this information. And also, I just want to remind you, especially because Americans are so familiar with Protestant Christianity and evangelical, which is they call kind of like Bible-based Christianity, that the history of Christianity, frankly, is not really based solely on the Bible, and sometimes almost not at all. There's a whole wide range of other factors, as you're going to see. Now, I want you to get your mindset out of this idea about what is true Christianity. If you're a religious practicing Christian yourself, instead of debating about what is the real way of looking at it or what's true, I just need you to focus on what it has been manifested as historically. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about, whether we use the terms democracy or whatever. We can all hold on to an ideal, but we need to see how it's historically implemented. And we need to accept that that's a part of the legacy of democracy, Christianity, Islam, or whatever. You get what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I mean. So, in any case, I'll leave it off here. I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I hope that we can enjoy ourselves as much as these kids running around. And please contact me if you have any questions or you need anything.